Hello, hi Neil.
Hey, Precious, how are you?
Welcome. I'm good. Welcome to another episode of the 10x Developer Podcast. Right. So,
We got
it's been
way too many stories, right? It's just crazy.
way too many today. And you know how crazy it is was that last week we missed Monday, so we had less than 7 days. I
Yeah,
mean, we did Wednesday last week, so
yeah.
we had less than 7 days, and then today
We
is
can't go through all
Tuesday.
of them, so I'll be picking mine. I don't know about you. I
Yeah.
haven't even looked at your list, so I'm pretty sure you also have a big list. But should I jump
Yeah.
in with the main story?
Yeah, let's start with the main story, which is
All right.
Claude Anthropic. Yeah.
Yeah, so Claude released a new model called Claude Opus 4.5. This is leap forward. This is probably the best coding model in the world right now. Which is funny. We were talking about this before you went live. So Gemini
Yeah.
got like 6 days of limelight to be on the top of the leaderboards, and it's now replaced by Claude Opus 4.5. The
Yeah.
the on the Twitter sphere or X, the feedback has been sort of crazy, right? It's wild. People are doing huge amount of tasks with one-shot prompting and getting tremendous results. Um, the problem is happening now. I feel like I'll talk about the details of this model a little bit, but I
Yeah.
think it's becoming hard to evaluate this model, right? Every time a model comes out and it charts, it kind of tops the leaderboards. And there is that saying, right? Most of these providers sort of in the post-training phase, they sort of use the same test
Yeah.
to sort of optimize the model. So you're not sure that's real one. It almost feels like that every company should, going forward, should build their own sort of leaderboard, because
Oh,
it's super hard to know now, because at surface it's impossible to know whether this is actually doing better than Sonnet 4.5. And if so, where? I think
yeah.
knowing that is becoming really sort of important. If it's getting better in something, is it not good at some other task? What is that looks like? So I feel like every organization should build, including us. I think we should
Yeah.
build sort of a regression test, not worry about the leaderboards. Have your sort of own that LLM hasn't seen before, and use that sort of as a benchmark. Um,
Yeah.
because these numbers are wild, right? So the model features includes like it's 200K token context, so it's same as Sonnet. The output is 64K. The thing is, it's actually cheaper now. So it costs less. It's like $5 per million input.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
but but it's expensive than Sonnet. But what people are saying is that this Opus uses less thinking token. You know how you give a plan, Claude spends tons of time thinking about your task. So those are
Yeah.
called thinking tokens, right? So it turns out Opus, even though is smarter than Sonnet, uses less number of thinking tokens. So at the end of the day, it actually uses 76% fewer token. That means less token means it's actually cheaper. So even if it priced higher than Sonnet, at the end of the task, you might be paying less money with Opus 4.5. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of, I thought was fascinating. That's really, really smart. That means it's actually smarter, and it's also smart at using the less thinking tokens, which I thought was really, really cool.
So,
Obviously,
but
this
but
the yeah, go ahead.
does it um is there any downside to it using less thinking tokens? So does
No,
it
as
make
long
it
as
less
it
analytical?
no, it's actually outperforms the models, other models.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's using less thinking token, but it's actually doing better job than others.
Oh,
So
wow.
it outperforms Sonnet by 4.3 percent points. That's actually around 5% better than Sonnet, even though it uses less thinking tokens.
Oh, wow.
So what I'm trying to say, if you're a Claude user, I mean, there is no point not switching to Opus 4.5. I mean, you have to, I mean, it's logically, price-wise and everything wise, it sort of makes sense to do that.
Yeah.
It's topping the leaderboard. I mean, I think we saw some amazing numbers. This is the interesting stat. So if you want to join Anthropic, I know this is one of your dream company, right, Precious? So they have they have this. If you want to apply as an engineering candidate, they have this
Yeah.
take-home coding exam.
Okay.
Okay, that they give to candidates. Okay, you have to.
Yeah.
It's been the rumor has it that this is one of the most complicated take-home tests. So
Okay.
they use this test on the models as well to see how the models are performing. Apparently, Opus scored higher than any human candidates ever taken that test.
Oh wow.
Yeah, best score ever recorded under 2-hour time constraint. So they give sort of 2 hours, I think, to complete
Yeah.
the test. So within that constraint, this model has performed. Remember, this is only testing their technical skills. Obviously, software developer means they're much more than that. But this is
Yeah.
purely testing their thinking capability under pressure and whatnot. This model has performed better than any other human candidate out there.
Wow.
Which, I mean, when I saw these stats, I was saying, like, God, I mean, we gotta be thinking differently about hiring people, right? I mean, we cannot use the same standards anymore. It has to be something else.
It has
So
to be
anyway,
something else.
just off the charts. I mean, security also good. This is the good metrics. I mean, going forward, we should be covering this. So the prompt injection attacks, we talked about this a lot, right? Every model has this issue, prompt injection. Apparently, the Opus does better. So it stops. So however, it stops around 33% more prompt injection attack versus the other models.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that means actually it's also security wise is actually also getting better. So overall, this is a great release.
Yeah. I think so too, because I mean, I was trying to share. You might have noticed the movements on the screen. So I was trying to share my screen on just to show the benchmark. The
Mm,
table. Showing,
mm,
yeah, sure. So as you can see, that is on the screen. So you can see how this matches against other models, right? So you can see so there's 4.5. That's the one we are talking about. We are making the
yeah.
comparison based on thinking. And then you can see the Opus 4.1, Gemini 3 Pro, GPT 5.1, Codex Max, and GPT 5.1. So this is like how it matches, it compares to other models, right? And then, they have some of these things where they talked about other people's first impression from GitHub. And then I think there is this other table down here where the matches also on different kind of tasks, right? So
Yeah.
as you can see, the agentic coding is obviously higher than every other model. Agentic terminal coding, it's higher than every other model. Agentic tool use is also higher than any other model, right? Scale tool use also higher, you know. So I think it's just in a few things like this graduate level reasoning where we still have Gemini 3.0, Gemini 3 Pro leading with 91.9%, right? And then visual reasoning where GPT 5.1 is leading with 85%, and then multilingual Q&A where Gemini 3
Mhm.
Pro is still leading,
I
right?
mean, this is obviously very much fine tuned for coding task.
Yeah. That was the point I was going to make. That they obviously fine tune this thing for coding tasks because, I mean, also some of the things that we've been discussing on this podcast, how Anthropic over the years they've kind of um, narrowed down on developers. They are targeting developers. They want to just sell to that particular market, build better tools for them, and how you know kind of like integrate them into everything that they're doing. And I think this particular model is particularly created for developers, right? So yeah, this is how he writes different programming language. I think he's very good at Java. I think Java is the highest here with 90%, right? So
Mm.
it's very good at Java, right? And it's also better than
It's
all other models.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it scores it's top 7 out of 8 languages. In one language, it's actually not that good. I don't know which one
yeah.
that
I
is.
think it's PHP. PHP here. We can see that Sonnet
I don't
4.5
know.
is higher in PHP.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, it's interesting to see. And then, just like you said, Google only had 9 days to enjoy, you
Success.
know, Yeah,
Actually, to be fair, in last seven days, we got 3 releases. Google
yeah,
Gemini, then we covered this, or did we? Maybe not. I think OpenAI also released one, right? Their Codex Max model.
yeah. OpenAI released
Yeah,
one.
and
Yeah, this one.
and
So,
this Opus 4.5, which takes the #1 spot. It's just wild how these models are getting better. It's crazy.
yeah. It's crazy how they are getting better, and then we are seeing more models come out from almost like the same companies. I mean, they're always like, when is it going to end? Like, we keep getting better and better and better. When are we going to say, okay, now we've gotten to
Mhm.
the end of it? Let's just get people to use this thing. We never know. Right. So the next story I have here is a story from Meta. Meta has been heavily into videos, like visuals, where you talk about videos, pictures, and all those things. So they have this thing called the Meta releases SAM 3 and SAM 3D for advanced image slash video segmentation and 3D reconstruction, right? So what this thing simply does is that, you know how you have a video of, let's say, 4 minutes video, and you're trying to identify how many times, identify all the, let's say, microwave in this video. Maybe you take a video of your kitchen and you want to identify your microwave, right? And a 4 minutes video. So that's what this model does. This model goes in and it draws like a line around the particular item. And all you need to do is to prompt it. You don't need to do anything fantastic. All you need to do is to prompt it. And then you have this thing, you have it circle out that particular object, right? And you just identify it. So whether it's a picture or a video, that's what this model does. So this thing can work. Um, it works across board and it is very, very efficient. All you need to do is to prompt it. So you can use one line word. They already have like predetermined text, like maybe a car, normal language, right? But you can also define your own language. So you can say, oh, there's a red line on the floor. Identify, draw a line around it anytime you see it in this video, right? So that way, once it identifies that object, is going to draw something around it
So,
for you.
so this is like analyzing video stream.
Yeah, more like analyzing video screen, right?
Okay.
So yeah, and then yeah, they say this is revolutionary. It revolutionizes vision AI by unifying segmentation, tracking, and prompting across image and
Mm,
videos. So
mm.
and the 3D adds like a state of art 3D object reconstruction from 2D inputs. So this
I
open
see.
model excels in real
They're
world messaging.
doing a lot of stuff on that spatial sort of
Yeah,
computing, right? It might kind of make
yeah,
sense because they want to tie everything to their meta glasses, right? Which is supposed to be one of the thing they're going for.
yeah.
Because I feel like I don't know whether we have that story. The feedback that I'm hearing from that Google's Nano Banana app, people are saying that's probably the best image model out there right now.
Yeah. I know a
Yeah.
founder who built a product on top of it and is getting a lot of. I use it for some of our content here at Stubli, and it
Okay.
works very
Okay.
well. Yeah. So I
All
think
right. So
Nano
I
Banana
have.
is good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, people are doing some crazy stuff to this, man. Creating infographics. One thing I
Yeah,
remember, recently there was NVIDIA's quarterly call. Somebody feed the whole quarterly report to Nano Banana and said, "Can I create an infographics of the best points?" So create a nice
yeah,
one pager with all the matrix in there. What's up? What's down? I thought that was fascinating. All right, I
yeah.
have a story from a blast from the past. Remember, there was used to be a platform called Stack Overflow.
Yeah, Stack
uh,
Overflow. Yeah, it used to be there.
used to be a platform. I feel bad about them. So it caught my attention because I always wondered about how they're gonna pivot, right? They gotta be figuring out, right? I mean, I feel like they're still around, right? I mean, let me go Stack
Yeah,
Overflow. Is that still works?
I
Um,
guess it still does.
yeah, it still does. Okay, cool. That's good. It's very unfortunate others use their data to train better models. So anyway,
Yeah,
they're coming up with they have enterprise packages. They have enterprise solutions, by the way, that I haven't used ever. So they're launching something called Stack Internal for AI era knowledge, AI buzzword. So
yeah,
essentially what this is that this sort of imagine a Stack Overflow, but we for your organization. All the conversation happens between teams and all that stuff that happens probably goes through your email, your Jira board, maybe
Yeah.
Slack channels. What this is going to do is that this is going to aggregate all this knowledge that just happening within your house within your organization, and put it
Yeah.
up there as a layer, what they're calling sort of a human plus AI curation sort of knowledge layer, knowledge base.
Hmm.
Which I thought was very, very interesting. This could be a very, very interesting play, because you know how we always talk about context engineering as a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Opus and all that is great, but if you don't know how to properly prompt it and how to provide right data, I mean, it doesn't matter how
Yeah.
powerful the model is, it's not going to work. It's not going to deliver, right? So
Yeah.
having a internal knowledge base or a knowledge layer that AI agents can tap into, that is your
Yeah.
organization knowledge about things that your software does and your application does and your documentation. I think that would be a huge, powerful play for Stack Overflow here. So that's what they're releasing. It's
Hmm.
called Slack Internal.
So
Stack Internal.
how are they going to like implement this? I mean, I understand it, but how are they going to implement it? Is it
So
going to
this
be
is a
maybe
classic
integrated into
aggregator.
the company Slack?
Yeah, so it's gonna hook into your Microsoft 365 Copilot, Teams, even IDs, your Slack, all these data sources where your people or your dev teams are communicating with each other. Sort of take all those
Yeah.
data, aggregate into one place called this knowledge layer for your organization.
Oh,
So imagine taking
nice.
all this data and creating a QS site where you can go in and find previous conversations and find
Yeah.
answers. There's a value for that, right?
Yeah. I
I mean,
think
all
that
the
makes a lot of.
conversation that I have with Joy and Henry that's on Discord, it would be nice
Yeah.
to sort of index it somewhere, and so that Joy and Henry can go back and look it up, all the previous
And look it
conversations.
up. Yeah. And they
Yeah.
can even just type like an input and then be able to call back like different conversations with just language,
Right.
natural language.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
That would be nice. All right. So the next story I have here is a story from, okay, we've done this story from Anthropic. So Gemini 3 Pro is now generally available across AI Studio and Vertex AI, right? So this is Google flagship model Gemini 3 Pro. We already
Mhm.
know, we talked about it last week. If you want to hear what we shared about Gemini 3 Pro, maybe you can check out our last episode, right? So it is now available for developers across the Google AI Studio for rapid prototyping. And then the enterprise focused Vertex AI platform. I think we also covered Vertex AI in a few episodes in the past, right? And
Mhm.
what it does, what it can
Mhm.
do with it. I think it's an enterprise solution by Google, enterprise AI platform
Mhm.
by Google for companies. So these crucial updates providing stable production ready access to frontier models renowned for its trillion parameter scale. So the massive context window and the superior multimodal and reasoning capacity, making it a top contender for enterprise grade application. So um, this has like a lot of benefits for those that are using this Google AI Studio and Vertex AI. It has a lot of benefits for you. So new generative interfaces, you have like access to now advanced reasoning models. You now have next generation multimodality at your fingertips, and then also you can now be able to be production ready products using this. So yeah, check it out, guys. If you're using Google AI Studio, make sure to check it out, and then maybe drop us a comment when you do.
So one thing interesting about Gemini was that they trained that model on TPU, not GPU.
Oh, on what?
TPU.
TPU.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
So that's an interesting decoupling from NVIDIA for Google. What that means, Google owns
Oh,
TPU, so they essentially own end-to-end infrastructure. Is that
yeah.
Google has a huge moat, right? I mean, this is just crazy. They own end-to-end flow. Like OpenAI and others are so dependent on GPUs availability, including Microsoft. Google, on the other hand,
Yeah.
doesn't require them apparently because they're using TPU.
Oh,
On
TPU.
second
Yeah.
that,
So they own.
They own.
Do they own the TPU?
Yeah, that's their architecture. They create those
Nice.
chips. Obviously, the TPU stands for Tensor Processing Unit. Tensors are part of the neural net, right? So the CPUs are
Yeah, we know
optimized for neural net processing. I think I bought
Oh,
TPU. I might have a couple of TPUs, Sandy. But the reason I bring that up because I just saw a story where Mark Zuckerberg wants to partner with Google and wants to use TPU to train their models.
oh wow.
Yeah, this could be a multi-billion-dollar project.
Deal.
Yeah, so this
Wow.
is a really good win for Google.
Yeah.
So I thought that was
Wow.
kind of fascinating. Yeah, totally.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating. I mean, finally a competitor for NVIDIA.
Yeah. Now I don't know if someone in the call might. I'll be happy to if somebody can jump in and clarify. I mean, which one is better and why? But I don't know whether or why use CPU versus GPU. I'm kind of assuming it's a different architecture at the lower level for these models
Yeah.
to use. I guess that's a different instruction sets, right? Because it's a separate processing unit. But is that the only difference, or there is an advantage of using TPU versus GPU? If anyone knows, I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
So the
Talking
next
about
story,
anyone knowing,
yeah.
just if we're talking about anyone knowing, so we have about 40 people watching on Twitter. So I just want to
Oh,
give like
cool.
a shout out
Hi everyone.
to
Yeah.
those that are here. So hi everyone. If you
Can they
want
ask
to drop us a
question?
comment.
Can they ask
Yeah,
question?
I
Okay.
think
Okay.
there is a way to drop comments on Twitter, right? So just
Okay.
drop us a comment. You can retweet or like the post and then kind of drop a comment.
Yeah.
So just we can maybe call your name and then give you a shout out. So thank you very much. Sonny, go on. It's your
Okay.
next. Yeah.
I've been terrible at sharing links. Maybe I should drop some links in here. That what we're talking about. Give me one sec. The next story I want to talk about is very close to my heart. You know how I'm fascinated about type system, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like statically typed languages will do better for AI generated code, right? So
Mm,
the era that we are going after is human readable AI writable code, right?
okay.
So any tool, any language that we can use that will optimize the LLM generating code is better. So this is not a sort of a latest product release news, but I found this language called Lean 4 that sort of makes that reality, right? It's the purpose of that is it's a very statically typed. It's like a proof system. So anything that you do on Lean 4 will be mathematically proven whether the program is correct or not. Okay.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
there are companies that using it with LLM because since it's a mathematical proof system, you essentially get hallucination free. Because if LLM hallucinates and produce something, the mathematical proof will fail that, hey, this is not a right code. So using that feedback loop, and we talked about this, right? In this generation, you can build any software you want using LLM as long as you know how to verify your solution.
Yeah.
Verification is the next level, right? It's not
Yeah.
APIs anymore. As long as you
Yeah.
can verify, you can build any software you want. So
Yeah.
Lean4 is essentially solving that verification problem. I haven't used this language, but I thought it's fascinating because this is the type of innovation we want, right? I feel like the languages and framework that we used in the past might not be the right languages and frameworks to use in this new world. So we have to start thinking about new ways to build software. And I found this fascinating. So when it generates the code with Lean 4, it also in the background generates a mathematical proof. And it runs the proof to validate whether the generated code works or not. So that's a
Oh,
tremendous feedback loop for LLM to say, hey, something is wrong here, and let me fix it.
okay. So what does it measure it against? Your prompts or your initial inputs?
It measures the output of your so the code that it produces, that
Yeah.
code gets translated into a mathematical proof, like an
Okay.
equation, let's say, and it
Yeah.
validates the equation. It cannot. It's hard to validate code, right? And hard in the sense we might be generating unit test cases, But sometimes, as you know, we will not cover all the cases, right? We might miss an edge case.
Yeah.
But with mathematics, we can prove for all variables, right? If this mathematical equation work or not. So that's a great way to validate your program.
Oh, wow. I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, so, and this language is mostly understood by AI models, not
No, you
necessarily
can. I
human.
mean, human developers can also use this language. But the characteristic of the language is that there is always a mathematical theorem, a proof behind the scene that validates your program.
No problem. Oh, wow. That, that's crazy, though. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's
I
going to
thought
solve a lot of
that's
problems.
I thought that was pretty amazing, and they have used this to um, sort of this is a good one. They build this application using Lean 4 that actually won gold medal performance in Math Olympiad. So imagine they
Wow.
use LLM to generate math solutions. It was kind of makes sense. Since they use Lean 4, they can validate whether the solution works or not. Using that, they got a gold medal performance.
Wow. That makes a lot of sense. Having that verification loop, that system is one of the basics of engineering, and it's something that once that problem is solved, is going to lead to a lot of more people building stuff using AI. All right.
Yeah,
So
I think we need to branch out and find new tools like this. That's why I covered this
yeah,
talk. That's pretty cool.
oh,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
that's cool. All right. So OpenAI launches group chat functionality in ChatGPT. I have not used this. I tried looking it up. I wasn't able to see it. Maybe it's not
What is
available
the
for me
group
yet.
chat function? What does that even mean?
Yeah, I mean it's so I guess the idea here is collaboration, right? So let's say you are thinking, you're having conversation with ChatGPT, right? And you want
Mm.
maybe me, Henry, and Joy to come in and kind of like join the conversation, right? So
Oh, I see.
you can create a group where all of us comes in and then we'll have the conversation and the chat. So I think that's like the idea here. Right. So this is allowing up to 20 users to collaborate with each other, and then
Is
the
it
LLM.
available to everybody?
Yeah, that's what they are saying, but I couldn't find it on my own. Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
couldn't find it.
yeah.
On
There is a at people on the top of your chat that using
oh,
which you can start a group.
interesting.
So I'm assuming all of the users have to have a obviously Chat GPT account. That's cool. I mean, I
That's
immediately see a value of this because I've been working with a CPA on one of the agent that we are building. We are collaborating the
yeah,
way we are doing it right now. Obviously, he's using Grok and Chat GPT and whatnot. And
yeah,
what he does is that he has a conversation. He shares a conversation as a URL link. You know how they have
yeah,
share functionality. But
yeah,
now he can invite me to his chat. Then we can
yeah,
collaborate on that. Yeah, that's
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah. So that's pretty cool. So they said this is going to set the stage for future API endpoints where you likely allow developers to build AI agents that can seamlessly join and observe and contribute to shared conversations within tools like Slack, Enterprise Chat System, etc. So this is basically a blueprint for collaborative AI and multi-user memory, simpler knowledge sharing. So instead of trying to like copy the link and share, just like you said, all I need to do is just to add them. And then also privacy model validation, because it confirms that individual user settings and personal memory remain private, ensuring a secure framework for group collaboration that respects user data and boundaries. So I think this is kind of like little but cutting edgy, because I know how memory can be and I know what memory means to, AI agents. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the tricky bit is, uh, there was um, a security risk a few months back with the share
Yeah.
functionality where apparently your your private chat GPT chats were indexed by Google.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Google was able to index your private conversations that you're having with ChatGPT because
Wow.
I think there was a issue with how you share the link, and
Yeah.
apparently what that meant behind the scene. I mean, I don't know the exact details here, but behind the scene, the URL was sort of public. your
Yeah.
ChatGPT conversation URL. Since it was public, Google
Oh,
started indexing it.
wow.
That's probably sort of weird and scary, but
Yeah.
anyway. So okay,
Anyway,
I got a next story in here. I don't know how insightful this will be, but I thought it was worth covering because it's a 10x software developer podcast. They released OpenAI released a new document now. It's for what they're calling is an AI native software engineering team, right? I mean, the reality of software development now is that you have AI plus human building software. So they sort of created a report that sort of goes through what that means for SDLC lifecycle and how people are building software. So they divided that document. This is what scanning it. I shared dropped the link in here. For if you're a software engineer listening to this podcast, I would encourage you to definitely do that because that will give you a glimpse of how enterprises and companies are essentially redefining their SDLC lifecycle essentially. So planning, I
yeah,
mean, that's obvious. If you're a regular listener of our podcast, you probably know most of this stuff anyway. So planning now is super easy, right? Uh, Most of these AI agents have a planning mode, right? So before even building software, you can now ask the agent to do an analysis for you. That's a
yeah,
great win, right? Any new code base, you just can say Claude in it, and it will give you the idea, the whole structure and overview of the code. So that's lots of things
yeah,
that are happening. What that means is that meetings are getting replaced with context-rich automation. That means instead of going to the meeting and figuring out what to do, now you can have a pre-read or agent do the run for you, and you guys can review that analysis, for an
wow,
example. So
wow,
like maybe hours of planning meeting could be reduced to 30 minutes. So that's definitely a win. Design to code is now high fidelity and early on. That means agentic scaffold AI, components, design tokens, convert Figma to mockup. These are all real now, right? The
yeah,
Figma to code is super easy now. You have MCP server that connects to your agent. Agent go takes that design and implements your first version of UI. Um,
yeah,
so none of this earth-shattering. One thing that I feel like is sort of becoming very interesting is that agents now deliver full stack features. This for a small team like us, it really is beneficial, but I'm very curious to know how large companies handle this because they definitely have dedicated front-end team, back-end team, middleware team, what have you.
yeah.
But agent is essentially capable to cross multiple layers. Um,
Hmm.
so I
So,
feel like, Precious, I feel like developers, sorry, well, last thing, we can ask you a question. I feel like it helps to be polyglot now for software developers. I think just going in and saying I'm exclusively backend really might be very difficult for companies to hire because the workflow is changing, right? The workflow now includes front to back as fast as possible, right? So anyway, so go ahead,
oh,
ask your question.
yeah, I wanted to say that the whole planning thing sounds like what we are doing with our profile booster, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds like what we are doing with our profile booster, where we sort of like help you plan out if you download Agency, which is our AI tool for freelancers, right? And then
Mm,
you apply for a job on Upwork and you click on this profile booster thing, it's going to break down the project for you, the project you're trying to do. It's going to sort of like create a plan for you to be able that you can
mhm,
follow to solve that particular project or solve that particular
mhm,
problem. And then you
mhm,
can also share this plan with the
mhm,
hiring manager, anybody that is hiring for that particular role, right?
mhm,
So I think it sounds the same, sounds
mhm.
alike, unless, oh, maybe if there's, a
No, it's
difference
same.
to
I
it.
mean, what I'm necessarily trying to say is that I think the phases of software development lifecycle is not changing. I mean, you're still going to be planning, you're still going to be building, you're still going to be testing and reviewing your software releases. But I think that the window is shrinking. It probably used to take weeks or months to do that. Now it's taking weeks, days, even hours to do that.
Yeah.
What I was going with this is that I think the separation of front end, back end, separate team that talks over Slack might be very difficult to get tremendous value out of this because the loop is getting smaller, if that makes sense, right? So
Yeah.
I feel like polyglot teams or full stack developers will have much better success working with these tools, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because the gap from front end to generating something is very small now, and separating that by front end back end feels like a friction to me. um,
Yeah. Yeah.
one other thing that's beneficial with this AI native engineering is the documentation. I'll be honest with you, I never done documentation. I hated that as a core because it's a chore, right? I mean, nobody wants to do documentation. But what's happening now with, as you can see, Claude, any tools, the first thing they do is that they're constantly writing documentation. Their
Yeah.
task list, their plan list, their to-do list, everything. So documentation is now essentially baked into the process.
Wow.
So good or bad, I feel that that's fundamentally has changed, right? There is lots of documentation now. In some cases, way too much, I feel like, but that's
Yeah.
something fundamentally has changed.
That's
Um,
changed.
but code review, I feel like is still the bottleneck, but there are definitely tools coming in. But yeah, I mean that's sort of the automation
Yeah. The
coming in
automation bit
here.
on the part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. So I have just one more story. I don't know if you want to go. I have just one story left.
yeah. Go ahead, go ahead.
All right. So Amazon launched this new MCP. So it is a fully managed MCP servers for EKS and ECS to supercharge your AI agent observability. So AWS is making the agent smarter with um, fully managed MCP servers for EKS and ECS. So what this thing does is that it let natural language queries troubleshoot it queries and troubleshoot clusters without manual dives. This preview eliminates setups, hassles, and all the other things that you have to go through anytime you want to do this kind of things, right? So now, what this simply means is that I think I have like a breakdown somewhere, right? What this simply means in a layman terms is, when you have like you know a small when you want to do like an MCP, you have to create like a set up like an MCP server. You have different things happening there, right? You set up your own local server and then you now attach it to the agents that you're building or agents that you're working with. With this, Amazon is trying to do here is to let you spin up an MCP server on the cloud. That's like the most simplest way to explain it, right? You are spinning up an MCP server on the cloud. So this managed servers brings enterprise grade features like automatic updates, patching, central access via AWS IAM, audit logging through AWS Cloud Trail, scalability and reliability, right? So these servers previously, like I said, you self-host or you host locally, but now you can now create it obviously on AWS. So the use cases are very simple. When it includes like cluster creation, application deployment, resource management, monitoring, troubleshooting via AI assistants like Hero, Cursor, and Client. So this is actually available on Cursor. So I think it is interesting spinning up MCP servers on the cloud instead of setting it up locally. I am more also
This
a
is
little,
this is sort of solved problem though. I don't know why it's a big deal.
yeah, I don't know
So
why it's a big deal in it. But
yeah,
I think the interesting bit is, anyways, I mean, maybe the access that these MCP servers have, if they're on the cloud, they still have the same access to the same data. So I have to take all my data and then put it on the cloud, right? So which means at some point they're going to start selling me spaces. I'm going to start selling, and how they are
mm,
going to do stuff like this. So yeah,
yeah. I
well,
mean, I think MCP server is a huge surface for attacks. Obviously, I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like I mean, if you talk to enterprises, I mean, that's one of their biggest concern, right? I mean, ideally, they would like to. I mean, the large ones will definitely like to host their own MCP servers. so that access controls are managed.
Managed.
Because last thing you want is that prompt inject your way, which we talked about in a few weeks back story, right? They're prompting it to get access to your passwords and whatnot, or get access to any data. So it's very important that we validate which MCP servers we are connecting to and what access they have. Anyway, so I have a bunch of stories. There is a new model release called AI2 OLMo 3. This is Alien Institute of AI released a new model. It's a small open source model that's actually performing really, really good. They have 7 billion and 32 billion parameter. There was another conference happened in November called AIware. So like software, AIware. This is an ACM IEEE International Conference on AI-powered software. So when I saw this news, I immediately got intrigued. Like, okay, cool. What are we talking about here? So they released a bunch of stories or papers around. There's one paper I thought was worth mentioning here. I will not go through because we don't have enough time here. Let me share the link with you guys here. This is done by 30 plus partners from Europe, sort of their thoughts on future of generative AI / software development. The future of generative AI in software engineering, sorry. This project is called Genius Project, where 30 plus European partners have presented their perspective on current challenges on SDLC, where the issues and what next 5 years sort of looks like. It might be what they read. That's it.
I'll definitely check it out. What's the title again?
The title is The Future of Generative AI in Software Engineering. I dropped the link already.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Cool. That's it, right?
I think it's been an interesting 40 minutes conversation. I don't know if you have any more story you want to share.
I have. I'm not sure whether they're worth.
They're very important. Yeah. I mean, I think we're also out of time. This is 42 minutes now.
Yeah.
And I want to say a big thank you to everyone that joined us today. It's been an interesting conversation. We'll be back here on Monday again. Join us on Monday. I think more people join this night because we are doing it in another time. Maybe let us know and send us a DM, drop a comment on Twitter, tweet at us, tell us if this is if this works
for
better
time.
If this is a better time, right? So we have about 45 people currently on X. Yeah, so let us know if this is a better time for you, and then we're going to switch the time. Anything for you guys, So thank you very much for joining the 10x Developer Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. You can give us a follow if you're watching on X. And then see you next week.
All right, take care, precious. Happy Thanksgiving.